Welcome to our continued studies of stewardship using the Stewardship Basics Bible Study found on the LCMS website under Stewardship. Today we're going to finish up our lesson 4, with just 2 questions, and then we'll jump into lesson 5 for our next session. Our first question is based on Galatians chapter 2, verse 20, and that reads, I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. And the life I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me. So that goes with the question for today. How does this verse tie redemption and stewardship together? Who is really the active agent in a redeemed steward? And this is really neat because, again, it's talking about our justification, our salvation, the work that has been done for us. But then it also leads right into the sanctified life, the baptismal life, the life of faith. And the Bible study has this really great answer. The crucified Christ has complete ownership and title to the steward. The steward is owned by creation first, but then in redemption, the currency of Christ's holy, precious blood and innocent suffering and death claim a deeper ownership. This redemption sets the steward in a new life rooted in Jesus. Jesus, through the working of the Holy Spirit in faith, now lives in the redeemed steward, carrying out the task to which the restored steward has been called. What's amazing about this is that we see that in our redemption, in the work that Christ has done for us, and the work of the Holy Spirit, our eyes, our ears, our heart of faith, however you want to say that, has now been filled with Christ. And he shows forth his ownership, his claim over us. And it is he who works in us the good works of who and what we are, the redeemed saints. And so as stewards, we get to be stewards of the gifts that God has given to us. But we do this in the new life with the new understanding that we have been redeemed. We have been bought by Christ to live in this new relationship, first of all, with him, and then with our neighbors. We get to use our resources for their benefit and their help. And then the last question for this session and this lesson is question 16. How does this redemptive act of God restore owner/steward relationship? And I love this because that's exactly what Christ does. He restores. Our sin, the stewardship crisis of Genesis chapter 3, broke the relationship of owner-steward. We, the stewards, thought we were the owners. We thought we knew best and were able to live how we see fit. But Christ lives the perfect life, uses his holy, innocent blood, the shedding of this, to redeem us, to buy us back, restoring us to the proper relationship of owner-steward, that we get to serve with joy, with delight, God, who not only owns us, but owns all creation. We now delight in participating in his life as he works in and through us. So the Bible study has this answer. Christian stewardship is not an activity that we originate by our own volition. It is critical that we understand that at its root in stewardship, God is the actor. It is the Holy Spirit who calls, gathers, enlightens, sanctifies, and keeps us in the one true faith. This work of sanctification is the work of the Holy Spirit. Since stewardship is sanctification, it too is the work of the Holy Spirit in and through us. While it is true that the human activity is the model or the mode of carrying out stewardship, it is dangerous to focus on human activity in this. When human effort is involved, apart from the working of the Holy Spirit, it will flirt and consistently cross over into idolatry or into pride. Stewardship that does not begin and end in the gospel is not faithful and biblical stewardship at all. While the human activity of stewardship may be visible apart from faith in Jesus Christ, only when the Holy Spirit calls us to faith and restores us to the role of steward can we truly be His own and live under Him in His kingdom and serve Him in everlasting righteousness, innocence, and blessedness. As redeemed creatures, we use the Creator's gifts to serve the Creator by serving creation. Stewardship seeks ways to glorify God. That is why it yearns to act in grateful and faithful response to the grace of God revealed in and through His Son. This is why, first of all, and always, it is the stewardship of the gospel. This is really nothing other than a sanctified return to Genesis 2:15. And that is the restoration of living in the garden and living in the joy of perfection, in perfect relationship with God, perfect relationship with one another. That is the great joy of God blessing us, restoring us, and keeping and providing all that is needed for the life that He gives us as we steward it and the treasures He gives. Well, thank you very much, and we will have our next session as we move on to Lesson 5. God's peace and blessings be upon you.